is the new Triumph Scrambler, and let's face it, it's kind of a throwback bike to the way that motorcycles used to be back in the day when, well, the British used to ride from cafe to cafe. And the Scrambler is kind of the half off-roady, half on-roady version of those classic British bikes. But Alex told me that he's going to bring a bike that is reinventing the way that people are going to be riding in the future.
Yeah, I don't have an engine in my bike. This is the Zero DSR Black Forest Edition, and it's all electric. It's got a 14.4 kilowatt hour battery right there, direct drive motor, belt driven, and it's completely silenced. So going out into the wilderness and exploring the outdoors on an adventure bike like this, no distractions, you can just enjoy nature.
You know what, Alex? The magic in a motorcycle is this. That's the magic.
It does sound pretty good, but I think the magic might be the twist of the throttle and getting up to speed pretty quick, and I think this does that pretty well. All
right, there's only one way to figure this out, and that is to take these both on-road and off-road and see which one rules the motorcycle world. So let's go to the reservoir, kind of go on-road, and then we'll take it off-road, and then we'll kind of figure out which one of these is right for you. By the way, how much is that Future?
21 grand.
21 grand for the Future, huh? All right, well, this is only about 14 grand for the Past. All right, so obviously these two bikes don't compete. One's a Scrambler, one's an adventure touring bike, but they do represent potentially the past and the future. So we're gonna try to figure out whether this indeed is the past and this indeed is the future. But before we do that, let's kind of give you a walk around at each of the bikes.
All right, so here's my ride for the day, the Zero DSR Black Forest Edition, a full-on adventure bike. The Black Forest Edition gets you some really cool stuff, including the top case and the side cases, these crash bars, hand guards, and a really big windscreen to keep you in a nice pocket of calm air while you're riding down the road. 14.4 kilowatt hour battery right there, and this makes 116 foot-pounds of torque and 70 horsepower. And you can see right here, no gas tank. Charges using the CCS plug right there. Quick charges in about 2.5 hours, and no gas to worry about.
Hey dude, what's the range on this thing?
It's about 90 miles in our testing. That's the furthest I got on it.
Okay, how about if you're just putting around town? We'll go farther?
Yeah, they say, I think it's about 150 miles. I don't know exactly the right number. We'll flash it up on the screen right now though.
Now I've got a whole bunch of different rider modes. So I've got like sport, I've got highway, I've got dirt. How about you?
I have one better than that. I have eco and sport, but I actually have a custom mode, and I can tune this bike using my phone, just connecting it with Bluetooth.
Wow, I've got a traditional key, but it's wireless. All right, let me tell you about my bike. This is the Triumph Scrambler XC, and it's kind of the middle of the Triumph Scrambler lineup. There's a 900, and then there's a more off-road worthy one. It has a very much more traditional power plant. That's a 1200cc parallel twin. That sounds, I think, magnificent. It's got a really modern TFT, so you do have different rider modes. You get about, I don't know, 150 miles on a tank full, give or take. I'm averaging just a little bit over 50 miles to the gallon right now. And of course, I have fully adjustable Öhlins. And I've got Brembos, Alex. What do you got?
I do not have Brembos, and that's kind of the worst part about this bike is the brakes. They're not the best in the world, but they bring you to a stop. That's all I can ask for.
Of course, you know, like I say, these are very different bikes. So mine is much more of a traditional riding position for a traditional British bike. This is an adventure bike, so you have a little bit more wind protection. But, you know, Alex, I've never ridden an electric bike, so why don't we just do a quick little loop? I'll try this, you try that, and then we'll kind of come back and see what, you know, we think about each bike.
Cool, let's do it.
All right, Alex, Alex, what do you think of the Pass?
It sounds really good, I'll give you that. Love the sound of this bike. Definitely a different riding position though, but yeah, the sound really did it for me.
How about the weight, the feel of it? I mean, does it feel solid? Does it feel like, you know, it's a bike you could live with for a long time?
Oh yeah, it feels very well put together. You'll see when you ride what I brought. You get a lot of rattling and a lot of weird noises. This, you hear all engine and it all sounds good. Nothing you don't want to hear. Yeah, it just felt really cool riding it around. It's got the look.
I mean, you know, they've had over 100 years, right, to figure it out.
Yeah.
Zero's been around 10, so let me jump on the Zero and do the same thing.
All right, Roman, so what'd you think?
Woo! You want the good news or you want the bad news?
Give me the bad first.
All right, first of all, the riding position for somebody my height, 6'2", is way wrong for an adventure touring bike. My knees are in my nose, dude. I mean, it's more of a sport bike, right? Look at that angle, right?
Yeah, that's pretty extreme.
I mean, you want something like that, not something like that. I mean, I think I would get, you know, cramped up pretty quick.
Yep.
Also, there's a little bit of a science experiment feel to it. Doesn't feel like, you know, it's one motorcycle that's made up of a bunch of different pieces, but it feels like it's a bunch of different pieces that make up a motorcycle. That's the bad news. But there is good news, right? The good news is, first of all, the torque is crazy, like any electric car or vehicle. It's so addictive, right? It's just right there, and oh my God, you get going quickly. Almost, you know, almost sport bike quick, I would say.
Definitely sport bike quick.
Definitely sport bike quick. It also rides, you know, smaller than it is. I mean, for me, it feels like a pretty small bike. I think it's pretty heavy with the batteries, but it doesn't feel heavy. I feel like
it's like 480-ish pounds, I think.
Yeah, I think it might be, you know, very similar to that bike, but that bike feels much heavier.
Yes.
Feels much more, you know, like once it goes down the road straight, it doesn't want to turn. This is much more sprightly. But my biggest issue with this thing is the riding position. It's for a tall rider, it's very uncomfortable.
And I rode it up to Wyoming 2 days ago, and I was comfortable the whole time. So just goes to show, depends on your height.
All right, so let's do this. Let's take them a little bit off road here and see how they do in the dirt.
All right, Roman, now that you've ridden both of these on-road and off-road, what do you think?
Well, it's my first time on an electric bike, and I can tell you, as a dirt bike, the Zero is actually much better. It's got better tires. It has instant throttle response because of its instant torque. It's actually got a shorter wheelbase, so it feels a lot more manageable. And, you know, it feels a little bit more tossable. Dare I say that with a bike this big? You know, this obviously has the Steve McQueen movie going, but it's much happier on-road than it is off-road. But, Alex, this is a big but, okay? This, to me, is transportation. This is rolling art. And I gotta be honest, Alex, I lust after that. I don't really lust after this. What do you think?
Yeah, I can't argue with that at all. I mean, the torque on an electric bike is really fun and really unbeatable, but you're right, that's a piece of art. It's just awesome to look at, and you're not gonna get too many comments from other jealous riders based on the looks of the Zero DSR.
So, you know, I mean, they're getting better, right? They're getting more attractive. They're no longer just like, you know, a motorcycle with a big block in the middle where the battery is. But look at that. I mean, yeah. Oh my God, that is...
Granted, the new Zero SRF, their newer electric bikes, specifically the street models, they look really, really nice. So there are some good looking bikes in Zero's lineup.
All right, well, there you have it, guys. We can't forget the fact that this is still much more expensive too.
Yeah.
I mean, 21 versus really 12 or 13, depending.
Yeah, I know where my money would go, that's for sure.
Yeah, me too. Well, thank you guys for watching, and check out TFLbike.com for more news, views, and of course, classic TFL bike mashup reviews. See you guys next time. Ciao.